Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your kind introductions, and thank you, ladies, for joining me in here for the fireside chat.
Thank you.
So, Anar, I think from the minute we started planning this event here, you've been a lot of support and a lot of heart, like your designation suggests. Yeah, and from the beginning, of course, like I said, constant support. And I've always seen that you're always rooting for everyone. You know, and that's an amazing
Good.
capability.
Women uplifting women.
Exactly, yeah.
Everyone should stand for
Yeah,
it.
and Hurun, as you know, is bootstrapped, and we have reached where we are only because of the support and love from kind entrepreneurs like you. So thank you for that already.
But you guys are doing a great job, Anas.
Thank you. And in my brief interactions with Paridhi, I felt the same energy. It's amazing how you both support each other and work towards lifting each other up. And you were both kind of disappointed at also that not more women could not join us at this panel. Right? It's amazing. So my question to you is this reflective of the community here? Is that how the community here functions? All women uplifting each other? Or is it just the magic that the two of you share? How does it work?
You want to take that? Actually, I feel that Gujarat lacks women in the workforce. I truly feel that, when we go to, every day we interact with people from Bombay and Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, lot more women are in the workforce. So maybe I feel Gujarat does not have that ecosystem, or maybe we don't need a two people income. I don't know what the problem here is, but I have personally seen that a lot less women are in the workforce in Gujarat. So, when I see somebody doing really well, I'm really like, I'm happy for them, and, I'm like, take everybody along, that attitude should be there,
That's a great attitude.
Just to add, see, I was a new entrant into the city, and I did actively seek out, sort of like-minded people, and it has been hard. It's not been something that, in this, talking about these struggles or wanting to do something like this, it was not very welcomed. It was not something that was very understood. So when we find people like this, there's a sisterhood that forms almost immediately. And I think we want to scale that, and conversations like this may go a long way in actually scaling that. We hope that next time round you wouldn't have to, you'd have chairs going all the way there to fill this up, and we might have a 2-hour chat about, what could be next. But we hope to play our part, and I know y'all are doing yours.
And I'm sure with all the heart and all the support that you are lifting each other up, that day is not far away. It's really nice to see. And you both have built powerful careers, staying rooted in Gujarat. How would you say that building a career here is different than building a career in, say, a traditional metro? You can take it first.
So, at least in my field, and I'm coming with a service background into a manufacturing state, added to the fact that at least, when we moved in, it's not a metro. We're well on the way on getting there, but I think Gujarat kind of forces you to grow differently. In larger metros, and particularly in our profession, there's almost a ready ecosystem in which you kind of have to just plug in and you grow. There's established ways of navigating the industry, and you may not be able to differentiate yourself, but there's opportunity. I think with Gujarat, at least I realized that you have to build those systems yourself, right? You had to create those opportunities. You had to create something which probably somewhere in the future somebody else will be able to plug into. So I felt that I was able to build a lot of other muscle that I would have never built had I had a career starting off in a metro, or even at this stage of my life, looking at, sort of playing out the rest of my career in a metro. So I've always said I could have never asked for a better career. It was not very understood, and there was obviously a lot of anxiety, including with friends and peers who said, are you sure about what you're doing? And I look back and I think it's the best thing that has happened to me. I built some entrepreneurial skills, the risk taking, a whole host of things, and I wouldn't change it at all.
Thank you, Anar?
Same, that's what Gujarat gives you, right? You're surrounded by entrepreneurship. Whether it be small, medium size or big, everyone wants to do their own businesses. So, you're always, you strive to get better and better, and that's what entrepreneurship is about, right? You can take inspiration from whoever you can, so yeah,
Yeah, the entrepreneurial spirit here is amazing. I should tell you, I recently met an entrepreneur who dropped out of an IIT to start his business in the third year of his college. And that dropping out was celebrated by his family because
Yeah.
that's what is celebrated here. It's really amazing. So I would next like to ask you, when you started your careers, as women of course, we still face a lot of difficulties sometimes. What are the challenges you faced and how have they evolved over time? Maybe Anar, you can take it first.
Sure. So, for people who don't know, I'm a doctor by education. So, the first thing that was very tough for me when I started an entrepreneurial journey in business was shifting my mindset. Doctors are still community workers in India today. Even today, we are community workers. So, that bottom line, top line concept is not there. What profits you're making, you're never focused on that. So a mindset shift was it played a very big role in my journey when I started off. And again, of course, there were lots of hurdles in the professional journey as well. Swapnila had just started off, so you are always playing with limited human resources, those kind of problems were also there, but now they have, now we are publicly listed, so now we have more funds, so those restraints are much lesser. But the mindset shift, I think it sometimes still is at the back of my mind, when I make any decision towards business, so yeah.
You, Paridi.
Sharing with you that I had a fairly controversial start on sort of coming here, but
Yeah.
no, that's okay.
That
But I'm going to
controversial,
rely
yeah.
a lot on Chatham House rules here. But I think coming in as a young professional, a young woman professional, in a very conservative business environment, I think I would, in the privacy of this room, say the biggest issue was credibility. Right? I had to establish myself. There's an old boys club here that exists, and they've done what they've had to over the years, and they've built the trust of the clients over here. I saw that as my opportunity, and it was also something that I had decided then that there is a better option of building rather than buying to enter this market, which means there was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of risk taking. You develop a thick skin over a period of time, but I think initially it was just about proving myself to myself amongst other things. And now I think it's about scaling that you want to build an environment which the market has moved, people have understood the value of these services, governance has evolved. We're seeing a number of companies over here who want to do things the right way, and we believe we can plug into that and we can add value there. So the challenge now for us would be, one, to attract talent that thinks in the same way and who believes that you can have a serious career opportunity in an environment like this. And for us to build systems and processes that enable that, right? You build the right skill building, you build the right sort of financial resources, you put in place the right training modules, you do everything so as to enable an ecosystem to survive here.
Different challenges, different roles.
Yeah, very different.
Yes. From, like Anna said, from where we are sitting, Gujarat looks like it's rising, roaring, and on fire. Right? My question to you is, how do you see it? How do you think the state is supporting entrepreneurs today? And where do you think there is room for more growth?
I don't think the state is contributing much to our growth. Paridi, you want to take this one?
Putting both of us on
you
a
should not
panel.
be putting both of us to answer this question.
turn the camera.
You'll have to turn it off.
No, I think, I think there is a very strong bent of mind in terms of what the state wants to achieve, right? And that's been the legacy in which the way the state has grown. But I think the country is moving a lot faster than those plans. And in order for us to achieve that, I think we will also have to think differently. And one of the biggest factors that, we were both discussing, and I'll leave Anna to kind of comment in more detail. One is the culture of innovation, and secondly, inclusivity. And I don't mean inclusivity just in a gender context, right? You have to be able to attract young talent. You have to be able to attract skilled talent. You have to give them places to live. You have to, you have to give.
And you need to retain that talent.
Absolutely.
The Gujarat, the biggest problem is you're not able to, even if you get good talent, you're not able to retain that talent.
You need it across the spectrum, and I think at some point it's worth reflecting on whether we've been able to get that right. So we struggle to scale because you want certain kinds of talent and you want people to think of this as meaningful opportunities, but we end up having to overcorrect in many other ways to retain talent, when frankly the opportunity is so beautiful. With a few changes, whether it's policy or cultural or whatever, I think we could really thrive. And as private sector will push that conversation forward, but it can't do everything, frankly.
You have something to add?
I mean, see, Gujarat also does not have an ecosystem for two working parents. It's a very big problem. I'm not talking about Paridhi or myself. I'm talking about the hundreds of people who work for us. It doesn't support, it doesn't have the right ecosystem infrastructure to support two working parents. So, I mean, a lot needs to change, and I think what the part about innovation that we were talking about before, it's not a state-related problem. I think it's a country, it's a central problem. I don't think India supports innovation. I don't think we have any policies that support innovation, because all of the pharma, tech, whatever you call it, everything, we import all technology today. I don't think we are innovating in any sector. So,
but I think we're well placed to lead. As a state, I think we are well placed to lead just by looking at the spectrum of industries that exist here. These are all disrupting, and they're disrupting from within. Right? So which means that if in order to survive, in order to thrive, in order to be put on the global map, industries will have to reinvent themselves, and that's only going to come with this culture of bring it down to zero and build up again, frankly. So we are doing it in our own ways, in our own professions, but it needs to happen at scale, at a platform level, and it needs to be encouraged. It shouldn't be something we do just because we want to survive.
See, from where I see it, India is a very young country, and as we grow, I think all these problems will be resolved. These are problems that are across the nation, as a nation, in small cities, tier 2, tier 3 cities, we do face it. But I think with leaders like you on top, who are empathetic towards how things can be scaled, how employees can be included, all these problems will be figured out, I guess. The last question I have for you is, for young people from tier 2, tier 3 cities across Gujarat who dream of making it big, what is one piece of advice each of you would like to share with them?
just, if you have the right intent and integrity, you should just go for whatever you dream of. I think nothing can stop you, but intent should be correct, and don't leave Gujarat, give it a chance.
No, I think, frankly, we see some of the brightest people coming from tier 2, tier 3 towns, and I don't think the country is going to grow with just what the tier 1 cities are adding. I think the next phase of India's growth is going to come from these markets. I think we have to recognize that opportunity. I think the one thing that I would say to people, irrespective of whether they're in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, is, I think keep the hunger, keep that bhook inside of what you want to do, what you want to achieve in whatever field it is. And I think focus on skills that can be transported in wherever you are. Your value system, your intentions, your work ethic. It can be in a tier 2, it can be a tier 1. That's what will mobilize you everywhere. And that's what actually industry is seeking. So it doesn't matter where you are from. At the end of the day, if you're able to get this combination going, you will have an opportunity that's waiting for you.
Amazing. Before I end it, I have one more question for you. What are the shared mindset or habits you think you have that has helped you succeed? Both of you will talk about it, but maybe we can start with Paridhi. You were talking about a book club, which is very interesting. I would like to hear
We're not
more
supposed to talk about our book club. It's a very low-key, very secret, yeah, very secret kind of thing. But no, but I think that also kind of relates to the fact that we've been very curious about the world, right? You could be reading, we've read all sorts of things, and that's just changed your perspective about people, about issues. We've read books on war, we've read books on politics, we've read books on space, fiction. It's just been fantastic to be curious about the world. But I think if I think about both of us, and I'm going to try and speak a little bit on your behalf on this one, that one, I think we are self-motivated. I don't think we need somebody to chabuk maru and tell us, sort of, we show up, right? And that showing up every day has been a big part of our journey here. And I think that really helps us in our own ways. I think it helps us as parents also, it helps our children as well, that you just have to learn to show up. I think we both know how to ask for help. I think there's no ego. There's no ego here. So, when you need each other, when you want to create that culture in your organizations, we want to create that culture with our families as well, right? Be kind of upfront about what you need. You may or may not get a solution, but that communication is healthy. And I'd like to believe we're both very disciplined people.
I'm telling you, I'm a doctor. I did not even have a subject called pharmacy, by the way. In dentistry or medical, you don't have pharmacy as a subject. So what I lacked in talent, I made up with hard work and discipline. Which it's a fact.
And we like having fun. I think that keeps us...
I think that's the most important part,
Yeah,
having fun.
We figured out our ways to unwind, and that keeps us healthy, I think. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your journeys with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies.